Unleash divine power in just one night, create a miraculous frequency that reality will obey. Sarah knelt in prayer, her heart trembling with desperation. The soft glow of candlelight filled the church, dancing with shadows that whispered of divine mysteries. That night, in the stillness, she craved a miracle. "Oh, St. Jude, patron of impossible causes," she pleaded. "Help me save my Emma." Her faith flared up like the flames flickering from the surrounding candles, fighting against the darkness that threatened to engulf her soul. As Sarah joined her prayer group, they formed a circle, united by fervor. One by one, their voices lifted towards the heavens, frequencies of hope cascading into the air. It felt as though the very walls of the church vibrated with their combined faith. Suddenly, the air shimmered, electric with possibility. The stained glass windows seemed to glow brighter, illuminating that sacred space with hues of divine promise. Then, amidst the fervent prayers, one of her friends spoke words of prophecy, igniting a fire within Sarah. "Hold fast, Sarah. A miracle is on the horizon." The next morning, the burden on her heart felt heavier. Doubt encroached from every angle, especially from her colleagues' rational voices trained in science, logic, reason. They didn't understand the supernatural undercurrents weaving through her life. But she did. They were a sacred tapestry of faith. Each thread bound her to a community that believed in wonders beyond the veil. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sarah poured her soul into nightly prayer sessions, her utter grief morphing into relentless determination. Each session became a dance with the divine, as if she were tuning her spirit to the frequency of miracles. On the night of the church-wide prayer vigil, the sanctuary erupted with voices: mothers, fathers, friends, strangers, all united in a heartbeat of faith. The resonance grew in intensity, waves of prayers crashing against the gates of heaven. In that gathering of souls, Sarah felt an extraordinary shift. As the congregation sang hymns, the very fabric of reality seemed to bend and sway, responding to the cries of the faithful. Then, just when hopelessness threatened to seep in, a hush fell over the crowd. Time felt suspended. A collective gasp echoed as a brilliant ray of light illuminated the altar. Within that radiance, Sarah's heart skipped, recognizing the presence of something profoundly sacred. Emma's name echoed through the air, a chant of belief that rose like incense. It was in that moment Sarah felt the call to arms, not just for her daughter, but for her entire community. They were called to deepen their bonds, supporting one another in a way that could only be divinely orchestrated. Could it be that extraordinary miracles awaited when unwavering faith was entwined with enough love? The questions flooded her mind as the flickering candlelight cast shadows of hope on every face in the room. Something extraordinary was on the horizon, something that would interlace their lives with the profound love of God. The night was just beginning, and divine mysteries beckoned them forward into tomorrow. As dawn broke, the sun poured its golden light through the church windows, mingling with the remnants of hope and faith from the night before. Sarah stood at the edge of the altar, reflecting on the energy she felt. The warmth on her skin mirrored the warmth in her heart, as if the divine was reassuring her that she was not alone. That morning's prayer meeting felt different. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation, as if heaven itself was holding its breath. Sarah could feel minds wrestling with doubts, yet faith bubbled like a spring. "Remember, the Lord works in ways we cannot see," she said, her voice steady, bolstered by the previous night's sacred encounters. A murmur of agreement spread through the group, and she knew they were about to embark on a journey that would test their collective resolve. As they joined hands, a transparent thread of love connected them. Sarah felt their prayers lifting, soaring like the sweet scent of flowers on a warm day. Each prayer ignited a spark, feeding the flame of hope that burned bright in their hearts. "Let us pray for miracles," she urged. "Let us pray for Emma." In that moment, she felt the stirring of angels around them, a divine audience gearing up for something extraordinary. It was as though the very atmosphere was expanding with new possibilities. The congregants' faith fused into a singular melody that resonated through the very bricks and beams of the sacred space. "Miracles are within reach, we must open our hearts to them," Sarah proclaimed. She could see her fellow believers shifting, the weight of skepticism giving way to a glimmer of faith. They were no longer just individuals, they were a living testament to the power of shared belief. Suddenly, she heard a rustling at the back of the church. All turned to see an elderly woman shuffling in, a gentle smile adorning her weathered face. She approached the group slowly, each step infused with grace. "I felt the call," she said softly, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Last night, I prayed for a long-lost daughter. If I can hope for her return, surely you can have faith for your Emma." Her words sparked something deep within Sarah, a realization that faith was not merely to be clutching tightly to promises, it was about living in the belief of what could be. The elderly woman's presence felt like a divine wink, a reminder of how hope interweaved their lives in extraordinary, unexpected ways. As they shifted to respond, a faint tremor rippled through the church. The ancient wooden beams creaked gently, almost as if the very structure was alive with the energy of collective hope. As the group unleashed a new round of earnest prayers, Sarah felt a stirring deep within. It was as if the walls were vibrating, charged with a frequency of grace and heavenly love, drawing them closer to the miraculous. But even as faith swelled, doubt still lingered at the edges, whispering insidious thoughts. What if the miracle never comes? What if this is all in vain? The questions loomed large for Sarah. Could her heart withstand such uncertainty? Gazing out at her friends, she felt the warmth of their unity wash over her. She clung to the thought of that glowing altar, to the radiant light they had witnessed, and an understanding began to dawn. God's timing was not for her to dictate. "Together, we shall become a beacon of faith, a light to each other," she declared, her voice steadier than before, shining with newfound determination. But as they prayed, another flicker of light caught her attention, a glimmer in the corner of the room that pulsed with a strange energy. Was it the reflection of the sun? Or something more? An oracle for their hearts to heed. With hearts racing and eyes wide with expectation, Sarah knew she had to discover what lay behind that light. Was it another miracle unfolding before them? The threads of their collective faith were about to be tested in ways they could never imagine. As Sarah's gaze remained fixed on the shimmering light, a hush fell over the congregation. Eyes once filled with uncertainty now sparkled with curiosity and wonder. The air was thick with expectation, as if every breath they took was tinged with the fragrance of divine promise. "What is that?" a voice whispered from the back, breaking the stillness. Fear and excitement wove together in the words, resonating with the feelings swirling in everyone's hearts. The flickering grew brighter, pulsating rhythmically, drawing them in like moths to a flame. "We need to seek it out," Sarah exclaimed, feeling an irresistible pull toward the source. Without thinking, she led the group to the edge of the altar, her own heart racing with a blend of trepidation and hope. Each step forward felt charged, like walking on sacred ground. As they approached, the light continued to dance, revealing hints of colors not easily named, vibrant hues of gold, soft blues, and gentle whites. It felt like the presence of heaven itself was inviting them to partake in something grand, something that could change lives. "Is this where our prayers come to life?" one man in the group murmured, visibly shaken yet transfixed. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of their shared wonder. Just then, the elderly woman from earlier moved closer to Sarah, her breath warm and steady. "When God calls us, children, we must answer. There's power here that we haven't yet realized." In her heart, Sarah knew the truth in the woman's words. There was more at play than they understood. As she stepped closer, she reached out a hand toward the shimmering portal. It felt like a connection to the spiritual realm, a bridge to their hopes, dreams, and Emma's healing. "We must open our hearts," Sarah urged, her voice rising above the quiet reverence. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air, vibrating through the floor and lifting their spirits. It was a melody so pure, it sent shivers down her spine. It seemed to echo their prayers, entwining them in a tapestry of faith. "Can you hear it?" Sarah gasped in awe, noticing that others were nodding, their expressions reflecting a deep sense of peace. Each note resonated with love, underscoring the possibility of miracles unfolding among them. "Lift your voices," Sarah commanded softly. "Sing your prayers into this light." With renewed vigor, the group began to hum softly, then rising into a chorus, each of their voices spiraling upward, melding into something bigger than themselves, something divine. As they sang, the light pulsed in harmony, undulating like waves lapping at their spirits. Sarah felt as if they were inviting heaven down to earth, their faith anchoring the ethereal power into their midst. The tremor from moments before returned, but this time it felt exhilarating, alive with possibilities. God hears us. Someone shouted, their voice cracking with emotion. Emboldened, they sang louder, a collective expression of longing and belief. The light grew even brighter, flooding the room with an intensity that made their hearts race. In that moment, Sarah could almost touch the presence of God, hovering right above them, ready to pour forth a miracle. But just as the climax of their song reached its height, the flickering light began to stabilize, forming a brilliant orb. It hovered mere inches above the ground, charged with energy that felt almost tangible. For Sarah, it was both exhilarating and terrifying. What will happen next? Someone asked in breathless anticipation. Sarah's heart thudded in response, her thoughts swirling with both faith and uncertainty. God's power is rising, she whispered, her voice barely audible amidst the growing energy. Could they be on the brink of seeing miracles unfold right before their eyes? The very foundations of their beliefs were shaking. As the orb pulsed with vibrant energy, a larger question rattled through her mind: would they be brave enough to embrace what God was about to do? And just then, in the midst of their joyful song and the congregation's prayers, the orb began to descend toward them, glowing with a brilliance that demanded to be witnessed. What would this next moment hold, and how would it change their lives forever? The orb hovered before them, radiating warmth that enveloped the entire room. Sarah felt the energy coursing through her veins, igniting her spirit with a fervor she had never known before. It was as if the air crackled with divine electricity, resonating with their collective faith. Keep singing. Someone urged, and the voices swelled again, harmonizing as one. Their melody intertwined with the pulsating light, blending beautifully into a celestial symphony. Each note soared higher, lifting their hearts beyond the confines of doubt and fear. As the orb descended closer, the light expanded around it, forming dazzling silhouettes of all who stood in awe. Sarah, along with the others, could sense a powerful current of faith and hope that flooded the room. The weight of their prayers, unspoken yet deeply felt, began to take form in the flickering light. Can you feel it? A voice broke through the chorus, trembling yet resolute. It was the elderly woman again, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. We are touching the divine, my children. Our faith is igniting a flame that cannot be extinguished. With each moment that passed, their spirits lifted even higher. Sarah turned to glance at her neighbors, their faces illuminated with joy and anticipation, the fear melting away like morning mist under the sun. It was a sight to behold, a testament to the power of unity in belief. They were not just individuals anymore, they were a family, a community bound by shared hopes and divine expectation. Suddenly, the orb shimmered with a searing light, and a powerful voice resonated through the atmosphere. It was not loud, but it thundered in their hearts, echoing promises long held dear. Believers, rise. Your faith has opened the heavens, and together, you have unleashed the miraculous. The air shifted, growing thick with palpable excitement. Transparent threads of light began to weave throughout the congregation, intertwining among them like golden threads stitching the fabric of their faith. Sarah could barely breathe, feeling the vibrations of divine energy coursing through her, connecting her tightly to those around her, binding their intentions and prayers as one. What will it become? She marveled, her mind racing. Then she noticed the woman standing beside her, her face glowing as if she were being lit from within. The elderly woman smiled knowingly, her frail hands lifted in reverence. Expect the unexpected, she spoke, her voice steady and full of conviction. God is a God of surprises. He delivers in ways we cannot fathom. As if responding to her words, the orb began to shift and swirl, revealing glimpses of vibrant images, a child's laughter, a healing embrace, the light of new beginnings. Each illustration streamed past them, filling Sarah's mind with the countless ways God could work miracles within their lives. Then it hit her: this wasn't merely a moment. This was an invitation to a transformed reality, a chance to step into a new existence painted by divine possibilities. The congregation clung tightly to this moment, their hearts yearning for the extraordinary. What if our lives can change too? A voice whispered, reminding them they were not mere observers. As the orb pulsed one last time, a brightness filled the room, and a sweet, fragrant breeze washed over them like a gentle hug from above. They felt lifted, their faith buoyed, their hopes ignited. But just as quickly as it had begun, the brilliance began to fade, receding into an ethereal glow. The sweet melody softened, wrapping itself around them like a comforting blanket. Yet, deep within Sarah's heart, the question remained: were they ready to take that leap of faith, to embrace the change that was unfolding before them? The air crackled with divine possibilities as they awaited the next moment. What would God reveal to them next? The room hummed with a sacred stillness. Sarah gazed intently at the orb now hovering gently at the center of the room, its glow slowly dissipating yet leaving behind an intoxicating warmth that wrapped around them like a cherished memory. The air was thick with expectation, a collective heartbeat, pulsing softly in time with the lingering notes of their song. Suddenly, a hush fell over the congregation. Sarah could feel each breath held tightly, like they were all waiting for something extraordinary to unfold. A new wave of energy coursed through her, igniting a flicker of inspiration. What if it's not just about witnessing the miracle? What if we are called to be part of it? The thought swirled in her mind, igniting a courageous spark. In that moment, the elderly woman beside her broke the silence again, her voice gentle but firm. Do not passively wait for change, be the change. The words resonated deeply, echoing within the souls of everyone gathered there. Heads nodded in agreement, and Sarah could see others beginning to stir, a warm light returning to their eyes. Together, they turned back to the orb, their individual prayers merging into a symphony of intent. Let our hearts be open. Someone called out, and they began to offer their dreams, hopes, and fears like fragrant offerings to the divine presence enveloping them. Let healing flow. Another voice joined, lifting their aspirations higher. All around, they were sparking new thoughts, igniting fresh visions. A surge of joy swept through Sarah as she watched this transformation. It was as if they were weaving threads of light, creating a tapestry of prayer that stretched beyond the confines of the room. Imagine what could happen, Sarah whispered to the woman. If we dare to believe, belief is the soil from which miracles bloom, the woman replied, her eyes twinkling with divine wisdom. You see, it's not just faith, it's active engagement with God's promises. As they participated, the orb glimmered brightly once more, and colorful reflections danced across the walls, illuminating faces with divine joy. With each word spoken, that sacred space morphed into something tangible, a haven where prayers soared and faith vibrated like a resonating string of a harp, tuning harmoniously with the heart of God. The air changed again, thickening with an unexplainable presence. Sarah felt an urging from deep within her being to share her own heart. She stepped forward, feeling the warmth of the congregation behind her. I am ready, she declared, her voice strong and sure. Ready to embrace a miracle, ready for change. Let it be so. Echoed the congregation in unison, their voices rising like the crest of a wave. Then, a different sensation washed over Sarah, a profound peace paired with the unmistakable thrill of anticipation. The orb sparkled, pulsating with an energy that felt alive, as if it recognized their united intentions. In that moment, she understood that they weren't just asking for change, they were creating a space for the miraculous to manifest through faith. But just then, a tremor rippled through the ground, and Sarah's heart raced. A voice rang out, not from the orb but from the very air they shared. What will you do when the miracle arrives? The question hung in the air, laden with urgency as each heart pondered. Would they welcome it with open arms? As they stood on the precipice of divine possibility, a wave of excitement and trepidation filled the room. Sarah embraced the sacred moment, knowing they were on the brink of something tremendous, destined to reshape their lives. And with their eyes set on the orb, a shimmering brilliance encased them once more, inviting deeper revelations. What remarkable truth awaited them beyond this instant? The light from the orb intensified, casting ethereal hues across the space. Colors rippled and danced around them, flickering like the flames of passion ignited within their hearts. Each flicker whispered promises of change, beckoning them to dive deeper into faith's embrace. Sarah felt her pulse quicken as all eyes were drawn to the orb. The vibrant energy surged with palpable excitement. What would happen next? She could feel the warmth radiating not just from the orb but from the individuals surrounding her. One by one, they were filling with hope, hearts swelling like balloons ready to take off into the sky. Trust the process. An elderly man cried out, his voice full of conviction. Trust that your desire for change has already begun. The collective breath of the congregation hitched again, their anticipation sharpening. Each word served as a catalyst, pushing them closer to the edge of the miraculous. What kind of miracle can we expect? Someone else murmured. Will it be healing? Another voice chimed in, restoration. Clarity. The questions rippled through the gathered souls, nervous murmurs blending with the steady heartbeat of their collective spirit. With a steadying breath, Sarah stepped forward again, feeling as if the very air was alive with possibility. A miracle is whatever we believe it can be. Let us not confine our dreams to what we can comprehend. Her voice rang out, clear and full of faith. Let us open ourselves to the miraculous beyond our wildest imaginations. A vibrational hum emanated from the orb, echoing her declaration. It was as if the universe itself responded, aligning with their collective vision. Careful watch was upon them now, the air thick with potential. Sarah raised her arms as if to embrace it all, as hearts around her swelled at the sight. The elderly woman beside her nodded, a smile spreading across her face. Yes, it's about more than just our wants, it's the willingness to accept what God has in store. As the orb pulsed, it projected beams of light toward each member in the congregation. Everywhere the light touched, it ignited smiles, sparking tears of joy. The room felt electric, laughter mingling with song, worship rising like incense toward the ceiling. Come, let us trust. Let us believe. Sarah urged. Her heart was a drum, beating a rhythm of unity and faith. Let us declare what we want and watch how the divine restores the broken, elevates the weary, and fuels our faith. Around her, people nodded, voices blending together, weaving declarations of hope, unity, and change. The atmosphere simmered with intensity, each declaration becoming a statement of truth before the divine. Healing for the sick, peace for the anxious, comfort for the lonely. As fervor grew, the orb blazed with light, a fiery beacon ready to unleash some hidden treasure. The incandescent brilliance surged, engulfing them all. Sarah closed her eyes, surrendering to the experience. She felt weightless, as if unshackled from her fears. The light thrummed, echoing a deep truth that resonated within her. It was not just about receiving, it was about becoming vessels of the grace they sought. But just as clarity washed over her like a refreshing wave, a haunting thought lingered: what if the miracle is not what we expect but something greater? In that moment, a stillness fell once more. The congregation paused, breaths caught, hearts united in shared anticipation of an unknown promise. As hope mingled with sacred uncertainty, Sarah knew they faced a choice: to embrace the unexpected or retreat into the familiar. With the orb spinning, teetering on the edge of revelation, they awaited the divine answer. Would they dare to open their hearts wide to the bigger miracle waiting just beyond their grasp? As the light from the orb shimmered, a hush fell over the gathering. Their breaths mingled in the charged air, a chorus of faith hanging delicately between hope and the divine. Sarah felt the pull of the orb deeper than ever, as if it were calling them to bring forth their innermost desires. What if the miracle has already begun? She pondered aloud, feeling inspired. The words spilled from her heart, embodying a truth that resonated through the crowd. Maybe each of us carries within us an ember longing to ignite a fire of change. Are we ready to unleash it? Eyes brightened, and soft murmurs rippled through the congregation, igniting a flicker of encouragement. Yes, someone replied softly, let us feed our embers with faith. The orb pulsed with energy, reflecting their growing enthusiasm. It seemed to sway in rhythm with the collective heartbeat of the room. Sarah felt the warmth embrace her like a comforting blanket. There was magic in the moment, a shared connection that transcended words. Every soul, every heartbeat, became intertwined in a dance of divine possibility. Yet, as excitement built, a voice echoed from the sidelines, laced with skepticism. How can we trust in something we can't see? What if nothing happens? The question hung heavy, a stark contrast to the fervor surrounding them. Just then, an elderly man rose, his presence commanding yet warm. Ah, dear friend, he spoke with a tremor of wisdom in his voice. Faith isn't about sight. It's about feeling, about knowing beyond knowing. We must step onto the path of possibility even when the way seems dim. His words resonated, slicing through doubt like a knife. Sarah's heart swelled. This was the moment to confront disbelief, not dismiss it. Indeed, doubt can be a heavy cloak, she affirmed, but transformation often begins with a single step into the unknown. What if this very moment holds the key? The elderly man smiled knowingly, nodding in agreement. With newfound determination, Sarah encouraged the congregation, let us embrace our doubts. Let them fuel our healing. Let us gather our fears and doubts and transform them into prayers. Imagine what happens when we share our burdens. One by one, they began to voice their worries aloud, I fear I'll never find my purpose. What if I lose someone I love? Will I ever be free from this pain? Each confession fell like a drumbeat, creating an atmosphere woven with vulnerability and strength. With every word, the orb's light shifted, reflecting their honesty. As they released their burdens, the orb surged brighter, illuminating the room in an otherworldly glow. Sarah closed her eyes, drawn into the sound of voices harmonizing in a symphony of both pain and hope. This is it, she marveled as an overwhelming wave of peace flooded through her. In that moment, clarity washed over her, a revelation that transcended expectation. What if the miracle isn't what we ask for? What if it's a transformation of the heart itself? As excitement swirled, Sarah raised her arms towards the orb. The greatest miracle is the spirit within us, the love we cultivate through our challenges. Let us embrace the unexpected here and now, knowing that we are in this together. The orb pulsed again, reflecting their collective embrace of truth. It shimmered like a beacon of hope, buoying them closer to the divine. United in their commitment, Sarah felt exhilaration coursing through her veins. Yet, before anyone could rejoice fully, the orb flickered ominously. A growing whisper danced on the edges of their consciousness, beckoning deeper understanding. What comes next? Sarah wondered, gazing into the swirling light, heart racing. Are we on the verge of something monumental? Will we be ready to respond? With hearts poised and spirits awakened, they awaited the next chapter of their unfolding miracle. The orb flickered once more, casting shadows that danced upon the walls like whispers of heavenly secrets. Sarah stood at the forefront, buoyed by both the anticipation of what was to come and the weight of vulnerability that now enveloped them all. Each person around her was a living testament to faith, their eyes reflected a myriad of emotions, yet they shone brightest with hope. As the silence stretched, Sarah sensed the atmosphere shift. This was no ordinary moment. With a deep breath, she called out softly, "Let your hearts be open. Listen to the voice within you. What is it saying now?" A ripple of stillness broke through the crowd, eyes closing, heads bowing in quiet introspection. In those precious seconds, the room transformed into a sacred space. Some leaned inward, as if to commune not just with the orb, but with an unseen presence that enveloped them. Then, a trembling voice broke the silence. "I feel a warmth." A woman's face turned upward, an expression of awe washing over her. "It's like light coursing through me." "Yes." Sarah responded, feeling that warmth resonate in her own spirit. "That is his touch. It is a promise that as we stand together in our uncertainty, we are not alone. We are united in this divine moment." The orb thrummed in response, illuminating the room with intensified brightness. Golds and silvers intertwined, casting reflections that shone like stars, stirring every soul to awaken their faith. "I want this depth of love," a younger man admitted, voice shaking yet resolute. "I want to feel free." "Then embrace it," Sarah exclaimed. "Allow it to transform you from within. Let go of the chains that bind your spirit." A wave of something profound swept through them, an unspoken acknowledgement of shared humanity. It was as if each release of doubt unwound yet another layer of fear, revealing a deeper truth of who they could become. The orb responded fiercely, pulsing like a heartbeat until a soulful chant started to rise, echoing throughout the gathering. Voices melded together, lifting each other in a cathartic symphony. "We are loved. We are worthy. We are powerful." A collective roar of energy surged forth, and Sarah felt the orb explode in light. It wasn't just illumination, it was a divine frequency vibrating through their very beings. It whispered secrets of the universe, urging each worshipper to unleash the power nestled deep within their hearts, the same power imprinted in their very souls. "Pray. Pray with freedom," Sarah cried out, encouraging them to intertwine their voices with the soft melody pressing upon them. "Speak your truth. Speak your love. Let it rise like incense toward the heavens." As the atmosphere thickened with prayer and praise, she saw joy and relief wash over faces once shadowed by doubt. Tears flowed freely, but they were not tears of sorrow, they were sacred releases. Each drop seemed to glisten with truth, a testament to healing in action. The orb, now swirling wildly with brilliant colors, beckoned them closer, as if daring them to dive into the unknown. What other wonders await us? Sarah gasped aloud, her heart quickening. What is the invitation of this moment? Can we trust it? And as they poured their spirits into the bright resonance of the orb, a question hung tantalizingly in the air: full of promise and potential, waiting to be answered. What will it take to step boldly into their destinies? Would they be brave enough to seize the miracles that awaited? As the last echo of their united voices settled into a reverent hush, the orb pulsed gently, now a serene beacon of light. It hovered, alive and beckoning, radiating an energy that seemed to breathe with anticipation. Sarah felt a powerful tug at her heart. What if this evening was pivotal? What if they were destined to step through a portal of transformation? With each passing second, more souls began to share their experiences, unfolding their innermost desires and fears to the warm glow of the orb. It was a moment of vulnerability wrapped in courage. A man with tear-filled eyes, trembling with emotion, stood up. I feel shattered from loss. How do I move forward? Sarah saw him, the pain etched on his face. Let that grief be your launching pad, she encouraged. In the depths of despair, hope can rise like a phoenix. What if your brokenness leads to a beauty yet unseen? Around him, murmurs of agreement filled the space. Others nodded, finding strength in his struggle. The orb flickered in response as if acknowledging their awakening spirits. A young woman turned to Sarah, her voice barely above a whisper, "But what if I'm not worthy of such love and light?" Sarah stepped forward, her heart swelling with compassion. Your worth is not determined by your past. It is written in the love you choose to accept for yourself. Feel that light coursing through you now. It cleanses, it renews, it transforms. Suddenly, laughter broke through the heaviness, bright and spontaneous. An elder in the back chuckled, "Well, I'd best learn how to dance, then, if I'm going to accept this gift." The room erupted into joyous laughter. Dance. Sarah encouraged, her spirit soaring with encouragement. Let the light guide you. Let the energy within you be your rhythm. One by one, they began to sway, each movement a release of the burdens that held them back. They danced not just with their bodies, but with their souls. It was surrender and strength, lightness and liberation. The orb shimmered, casting cascading colors that intertwined with their motions, igniting the space with divine joy. Amid the celebration, a deep resonance struck Sarah's heart. She felt a profound truth unfurling in her spirit, limitless potential awaited them, miracles blossoming from belief. The orb was not just a beacon but a conduit for divine wisdom. The chanting resumed, but now it shifted. We are transformed. We are becoming. Each line surged with an energy that fortified faith in the miraculous. They envisioned healings, reconciliations, newfound paths, each a divine gift, a piece of the cosmic puzzle. And just as the intensity of their expressions reached a crescendo, the orb flashed brighter than ever before, filling the room with a warmth that enveloped every soul. It was as if heaven itself had stepped closer, curtains of divinity woven into the fabric of their gathering. Yet amid this radiant light, uncertainty flickered. A whisper danced along the edges of Sarah's mind. What was waiting in the stillness? She raised her hands high, drawing attention. Do not forget that the greatest test comes when the light dims. Can we nurture this spark in the shadows to come? As their movements began to slow, the vibrant energy transformed into a sense of solemn purpose. Questions lingered in the air, bright with possibility. What echoes of this night would stir them in moments of darkness? How could they carry this frequency of hope into the world beyond? The orb pulsed one final time, an invitation flashing in its depths. Tomorrow is another day, Sarah thought, gazing into its mesmerizing glow. What divine surprises await us next? And just like that, the challenge loomed before them all. Would they take a step forward into the unknown, trusting that the miracles they sought were already at hand? The orb hovered gently in the air, pulsating softly like a heartbeat. The atmosphere crackled with a potent blend of anticipation and joy. Sarah looked around at the faces illuminated by its radiance, each heart resonating with possibility. They had transformed from a gathering of individuals into a united force of faith, a living tapestry woven with dreams and desires. Let us seal this moment. Sarah urged, her voice ringing clear and strong. We've stepped into the realm of miracles, but we must carry this light within us. Hands raised to the orb, they formed a bridge of connection, fingers intertwined in a divine chain. We are not just seekers of change, we are the change. She proclaimed, feeling the electric energy coursing through them like veins of gold. One by one, they began to unleash their hopes, filling the sacred space with dreams. I want to heal. I want to forgive. I want to embrace joy once more. Each declaration was like a fresh whisper, igniting the air with fervent flames of possibility. As they spoke, Sarah felt the orb shimmer in response, glowing brighter with each confession of faith. It was as if the universe itself echoed their declarations, weaving them into a grand design of divine orchestration. The room vibrated with energy, alive with the collective imagination of those who dared to believe. Together we created a frequency that heaven cannot ignore. An elderly man exclaimed, his voice filled with passion. Our faith has become a beacon. Yes. Sarah affirmed, her heart soaring. And through our collective strength, we become instruments of God's grace. This is just the beginning. In that very moment, a tangible warmth enveloped them, something holy and profound, flowing like a river of peace. It swept through every soul, washing away remnants of doubt and fear. Their joints felt loose, and shoulders relaxed as burdens lifted, replaced by the unshakable knowledge that they were seen and loved. Just then, a gentle voice broke through the stillness, emanating from the heart of the orb. You have unlocked the doors to the miraculous. Now, carry this flame into the world. It wasn't a voice of judgment, it was an invitation filled with promise. Tears of joy sprouted from the corners of Sarah's eyes. There was great power in their unity, a binding of hope and belief that transcended beyond their wildest imaginations. Let us not just be vessels of faith in this space, let us take it outside these walls. Let us inspire others to believe that miracles are real. The congregation erupted into applause and cheers, a wave of exhilaration washing over them. From amidst their ranks, the elderly woman from earlier rose again, her spirit buoyant. Let our stories echo. Let them carry our miracles like ripples across the water. As the orb flickered once more, colors burst forth, splashing against the walls in vibrant hues of hope. They were no longer just witnesses, they were heralds of a new beginning, each voice rising like the sound of a celestial choir, uniting them in divine anticipation. Sarah's heart was full as she took a step forward, her presence radiating confidence. Each of us is called to transform our communities. We have the power to minister to the brokenhearted, to offer compassion to those in need. Their connection grew stronger, as if every heartbeat echoed the urgency of their mission. With that, they began to sing gently, not just melodies, but woven prayers of commitment. We go forth as lights in the dark, each note a step taken towards fulfilling their purpose. As the final verse faded, the orb shimmered brighter than ever, lifting slightly toward the ceiling before beginning to dissolve into a soft mist of radiant light. It was as though heaven itself descended upon them, infusing their hearts with courage for the journey ahead. In the hushed aftermath of their celebration, a serene silence fell over the space. Sarah breathed in deeply, feeling the warmth of the congregation envelop her like a blanket. A sweet lightness coursed through her, they had surrendered to the divine movement of the Spirit, becoming catalysts for change. Now, let us pray, she softly stated, her steely determination echoing in the room. They closed their eyes, heads bowed together as a sacred wave of gratitude washed over them. Thank you, Lord, for reminding us of the extraordinary power of our faith. With hearts ignited and spirits intertwined, they pled for courage as they stepped into the world anew, promising not only to witness miracles but to create them. Let this be our testimony, Sarah concluded, smiling through joyful tears. Believing that no mountain is too high, no valley too deep when hearts are united in faith, all things are possible. As they opened their eyes, the light lingered, a reminder that they had indeed created a miraculous frequency that the world would now have no choice but to heed. And with that, they stepped into the sunlight of a new day, a solemn promise etched into their hearts. Miracles are not just awaited, but born from the abundance of faith, love, and divine connection. Now this is your call to action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to witness more transformative faith stories. Do it right now and tap the like button. Each click feeds the algorithm and helps share this glorious message. Comment below to share your reactions, your own testimonies of faith, and let your voice be part of this community. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. True servants of God understand the urgency of spreading this light. Stand with us, and let us spark miracles together.